You're in litigation, and now you've been asked to attend what's called a compulsory medical examination, or a CME. Not to be confused with an IME, right? We've covered what an independent medical examination is in another video. Don't confuse the two. A lot of defense attorneys like to call these compulsory medical examinations independent medical examinations. They are anything but independent, right? These doctors are getting paid gobs of money by insurance companies. They're not independent. Don't let them mislabel it. It's a compulsory medical examination. So, what do you need to know about a compulsory medical examination? This is the time where the defense attorney and the insurance company has an opportunity to have you examined by the doctor of their choosing. So they choose a doctor that's usually going to testify favorably for them. They're going to say, look, this person is not injured. Right? And even if they are injured, it's not related to this accident. And even if it is related to this accident, it's not permanent. Right? So they're really going to give you nothing. They're going to say it's not related to the accident, it's not permanent, and you're not really injured. A lot of times you could read what their report's going to be because they're all the same, which is, all these injuries should have resolved within about 90 days, which we have clients that have had surgery. We've had clients that have had, injections and all sorts of pain management and ongoing therapy. And the pain did not resolve after 90 days, and it's kind of a ridiculous proposition to say that it resolved after 90 days. But the defense attorneys and the insurance companies are paying these people a lot of money, so maybe sometimes they're willing to say that even though it's not true. I don't know. But you have to attend this compulsory medical examination in litigation. So you filed, this is part of a lawsuit process, right? You always go see your own doctors. The compulsory medical examination doctor is not your doctor. They will likely have you sign something at the beginning of your appointment with them stating that, hey, there is no doctor-patient relationship. There is none. I'm not your doctor. I'm here just to examine you and give the insurance company an opinion of why I don't think you're really that injured. Okay, so they're not your doctor. They're also not your friend. Some of them are very nice, and they'll give you pleasantries and say, hey, have you seen the new, the player that the Tampa Bay Rays just picked up? Or, hey, you got any kids? Or, how about them Yankees? And, oh man, it's crazy. The weather's just been so crazy. And it's easy to fall into the trap of going, hey, this is a really nice guy. I'm just going to volunteer a bunch of information to this person. And you don't want to do that. You want to be absolutely truthful with them and answer their questions, but answer their questions directly. Try not to volunteer too much information. So we have another video about depositions and how to handle deposition questions. And it's very similar to that, where we tell you, don't volunteer any information. Answer the question directly that they've asked you and answer truthfully, but leave it at that, right? They're not your friend. They're not here to help you. You do not want to give them information that can and will be used against you in a court of law, I promise. So that's the second way that you handle that. Another thing that you want to do at a compulsory medical examination is you do want to bring a professional videographer. So for our clients that have been set for compulsory medical exams, we hire a professional videographer to attend every single one of them and video that for us. So in the event that the compulsory medical examination doctor says, oh, well, this person said, my neck wasn't even hurting that day. We have a video where that person says, no, my neck was hurting that day. And we can show that video at trial to show that that doctor is not being truthful about what the pain complaints were. Or, hey, when I did this shoulder test on them and had them raise their shoulder, they said that didn't cause them any pain. Well, hey, look at the video, doctor. When you lifted their arm, they're wincing pretty bad, right? Are you looking at the same thing as me? And so we're able to hold them accountable if you have a video. If you don't have a video, you at least want a court reporter there. And sometimes you have both, right? Sometimes a court reporter is very helpful to have there as well. But a court reporter is going to make sure they write down everything that's said. If you go into it without a videographer or a court reporter, you are just asking for that doctor to make things up. And that is not what you want. The next thing is, some lawyers are different about this, and I think sometimes lawyers aren't helping their clients like they should or communicating with them like they should, but I think this is an actual strategy decision. So sometimes lawyers do not want to go to these compulsory medical exams. They want it to be totally independent, and they went there without their lawyer. I personally like to hold my client's hands, so I go to these compulsory medical examinations with my client. I have them wait in the parking lot for me, or I wait in the parking lot for them. We walk in together, we greet our videographer that I've hired together, we go back into the doctor's room together, and I observe the whole medical exam. Now, I cannot interject myself into it. My client cannot ask me questions. I prepare the client for what the doctor is going to ask, but then I just sit there and watch just to make sure, nothing untoward happens and that my client knows that they have somebody there literally standing in their corner, fighting for them, observing, knowing what's going on in the case. The defense attorney is not allowed to, in Florida at least, the defense attorney is not allowed to attend that compulsory medical examination. So, the CME doctor, how are they going to affect my case? They are going to come to court eventually. They're going to author a report, and they have to usually give us that report within 30 days of the examination. And that's what before we go into these examinations, the defense sets it, right? And we make sure that we clear that date with our client so they're not just setting it for a time that they choose that's not convenient for our client. We object to it, and we have an order entered. So we have a judge enter an order that governs this medical exam and governs all the rules. If you go into a medical exam without an order, that can sometimes be a problem because now the defense attorney doesn't know what they can and can't get away with. When you have an order in place that's signed by a judge, they better follow that order, and they better, make sure that they give you that report within 30 days or whatever has been negotiated into that order that the judge signs. So we want that order entered before we're ever going to show up at that medical examination. Because eventually, this is how it affects your case, is that they author the report, but that report is not going to come into evidence. What comes into evidence is their testimony. The report allows me to understand what their opinions are so they can take their deposition and say, hey, doctor, I can see what your opinions are. What are they based on, right? Where are you getting this from? Tell me about this part of the exam. Tell me about that part of the exam. So, eventually, they're just going to get in front of a jury and they're going to testify about what they feel that your injuries are or are not, what was caused by the accident, what was not caused by the accident, what's permanent, what's not, and most of it's going to go against you. So it's really important for us on our side to have very good treating doctors who are willing to testify on your behalf. And we, sometimes they don't, right? They don't want to come to court. They don't want to have their depositions taken. This is something we run into. We know experts that we will hire to come and testify on your behalf. And our experts sometimes are not going to testify the way you want, sometimes, but they're going to be honest about what they think. So if you've been called into a compulsory medical examination and you're wondering what it is, that's what it is. A couple other quick tips on how to handle a compulsory medical examination are, we already went over, just be direct and be truthful. Don't volunteer any information. They're not your friend. The other part is, if they are doing that exam with you, two things about the physical exam. One is, if they touch somewhere and it causes pain, you want to let them know it causes pain, because otherwise it's either going to be on video or they're going to testify that, hey, I touched their shoulder, they're claiming shoulder pain, and they didn't say that they had any pain or they didn't make any. So it's okay to verbally say, that hurts me, that hurts, ow, that hurts. If it does, don't make it up. If it doesn't hurt you, then just say it doesn't hurt me, because these doctors are good at basically saying, and any doctor, they're trained, right? They're better than you'd expect at saying, well, these symptoms don't line up, right? So this person's complaining about pain in their left finger, but they have a disc herniation at this level. That doesn't add up to me. This is not a very congruent symptom or complaint that they're having with what I see as the injury. So be honest about what hurts and what doesn't, but physically let them know, ow, that hurts. And they'll ask you, does that hurt? And if it doesn't, just say it doesn't hurt. The other thing is, sometimes they'll say, oh, okay, I'm going to apply pressure to your hand here and lift up against me, right? Do your best if you have a shoulder injury. Lift up against my hand or push in my hand or whatever. And what they'll do is they'll apply almost no pressure, right? So you want to say to the doctor and on video, hey, I can barely feel you pushing on my arm, right? Because if they're really putting a lot of force on your arm and you have a shoulder injury, sometimes, depending on where the injury in your shoulder is, that's going to hurt if they push too hard this way. But if they're barely touching it, you want to let them know, hey, you're barely applying any force there. Do you want to push harder, right? Because we don't want them on video barely pushing and then they go, well, I pushed as hard as I could, right? So other things, you want to be on time. These CME doctors, they're going to charge you if you're late. So if there's usually either an agreed upon cancellation fee or no-show fee, or there is a order that the judge has entered that governs it. But usually if you're about 15 to 30 minutes late, anything over 15 minutes, they're going to say, you're a no-show. We have other patients to see. We're not going to see you today. We're going to charge you I mean, we agree that sometimes on the fee, but again, some of these doctors are going, oh, you owe us $7,000, which is ludicrous. We'd fight that, but some of these doctors are literally saying you owe me $7,000 for being 16 minutes late to the appointment. So all of our clients, we have them there 30 minutes early. That way, I've talked to them on the phone. We meet them in the parking lot. We walk in together. We're usually there 15 minutes early. And guess what? After 30, we wait 30 minutes usually for the doctor, and my videographer's there. And if the doctor doesn't show up after 30 minutes, I get it on video. And I say, we're leaving. My client's here. We're in the doctor's lobby. We're leaving. And if they want to reset your CME, they can pay for it. They can pay for my time. They can pay for your time. They can pay for my videographer's time if they want to reschedule this thing. So, but your job is to be on time. I don't care about traffic. I don't care if there's an accident. They will charge you. So plan to be there 30 minutes early, and you probably won't be late. But you got to be there on time for these medical exams. So I hope that answers some of the questions you might have about compulsory medical exams if you've been set for one in your litigation case. If you have any questions about how to handle it, what you should do, if you're going on your own, call us. We are happy to answer any questions that clients have about personal injury cases or that potential clients have about personal injury cases. Call us anytime. We offer a free, no-risk consultation.